Welcome to this week's episode of The Girl Speaks, and I'm so excited to be finishing off our sisterhood series with the beautiful Yami. She's one of my sweetest, dearest friends, and I'm excited for our conversation today. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you guys, tell you kind of what she does. Who is Yami?
Oh gosh, you did not tell me that we were doing that. But before that, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Like Balama said, um, we are dear friends, and how it started was kind of like not what you would expect, but we'll get into that in a little bit, I guess. Who is Yami? Oh my goodness. I hate that question. Number one, I hate talking about myself, but I am a mom. I'm a wife. I have a couple different businesses. I have a fitness app called the Fit Club. I have an activewear and a swim brand called Lavavi. I also have a YouTube channel, TikTok, a podcast called Better Than Before. I literally have so many things,
A
which
woman
says
of
a
many
lot.
talents.
I don't know. I feel like it says a lot of things because I love to learn a lot of different things and I get bored really easily. And so I think my life showcases that I can't stick to like one thing. But yeah, that's a very little bit about Yami.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why we're friends because I feel like you know how people talk about like, oh, like what's your niche? I mean, I feel like you kind of have a niche, but like people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, what part?
Right. I'm a human. Like I don't do just one thing. I
Yeah.
think it started off as fitness when when I first started posting as a like a not a job, but like it was like my main thing. Fitness was just what I was doing, and I think that opened up doors to other things because, and I said this in an interview once that I didn't realize what it was until I said it, but fitness is like a vehicle for me to help women. It's not necessarily the only thing I do to help women, or that's like it's just a part of me. It's not all of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I love that. Love that. Love that. I think the first thing, because you mentioned this, kind of how we met, I think
Yeah.
we can kind of start there.
Yeah.
Um, Funny because I was going through my camera roll. You know how like you open your iPad and it shows you like a little square of the picture? Anyways,
Yeah, like the
mine does that.
memories. Wait, this does this too? Or is it just the
I
Apple?
had that. I have no idea.
If you are not watching, we did a little heart thing with our hands, and there's hearts on the screen now.
It's sending all my love to you all the way from Canada.
And to you.
That's so cute. But no, yeah. My it like popped up with the picture of us at like Top Golf from like that party.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So
Um,
funny.
so I guess I think I can let you talk about that. How did
Yeah.
we meet?
So, so Bellama was working with my husband. And so I knew of her, but I wasn't really friends with her because we just never had the opportunity. And my husband and I got married. We got pregnant. Unfortunately, we had a miscarriage. And yeah, we had the miscarriage. And that was a really difficult time for me for a lot of different reasons. But there was this one, was that a concert? Was that, what's his face?
Oh
Israel.
yeah, we it was like a worship
Yeah, it
Israel
was like a worship
New
night.
Breed. Yeah, we were hosting them.
Yes. And so I just went because I wanted to like get my worship on. And I was like off to the corner because everybody was working. And then Bellama just comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, I'm Bellama. Um,
That's exactly how I said it.
literally. She's like, hi, I'm Bellama. I know you don't really know me, but I just feel called to come up to you and I'm pretty sure you were like, I'm so sorry about what happened. But then she proceeded to ask if she can pray over me, and that's when I like lost it. And I just thought, it's like I'm gonna start crying now because it's still very sensitive. Um, and I think I'm not gonna get through this. Oh my goodness, I've been so emotional these past couple days. And so she prayed over me, and that was very I mean, it's always great when someone prays for you, right? But I think at that point, it felt like my closest friends weren't really there for me, and so to have a complete stranger be there for me, um, like I was like, "Oh, this girl's like the real deal," you know? So I'm trying
Yeah.
to like make the story short so I stop crying. I
I
need a fan.
honestly like you just brought that to my memory because I don't know why like that didn't pop up when I'm like, oh, like how did we meet? Because yeah, obviously I've like always heard, oh, Yummy, like Taz's wife, she's like gorgeous, she's beautiful hair, she's all these things. And I actually would like kind of like watch her YouTube here and there.
Oh,
And I remember that day, I literally was talking to one of like one of the other staff members. And every time God put something like that on my heart for me to approach someone, I I tried to ignore it. I was like,
I
no,
remember you
like
saying
God.
that.
I was like, this girl doesn't know me from anywhere. She's like, why is this stranger coming? I'm like, she's going through a lot. Does she even want anyone to approach her? I kid you not. It felt like I was going to pass out if I didn't go talk to you. No, that's just what God does to me.
No, I
Anytime
know. I remember you saying that.
it felt like I had a brick in my chest.
Oh,
And God was like, if you don't, and I like walked away and I'm like, she's gonna be like, who's this weirdo? Is she just trying to like, I'm like, I don't know. And I went
no,
up
that
and
was the
exactly how you
sweetest.
said it, that's exactly how it was. Hi.
Mama?
It's like, let me ease up so she,
Yeah.
you know. And yeah, God just put it on my heart and I just like really could empathize. Obviously I hadn't exactly experienced that, but
Yeah.
similar-ish. And it was like,
Yeah.
you know, the Lord just, I feel like, put your heaviness on my heart and it was hurting me so much. I'm like, you know, and then I think after that was when they had, what did they have? The company party.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels so weird to say.
I know.
Company party. Anyways, and
Yeah.
that's where I literally showed up like dripped out in your
In the
merch.
Bobby,
And
and
I'm
I was
like,
like,
which sidebar, she mentioned this, but Yami has a brand. And I'm not the type of person to be like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna like I literally ordered my set. I tried it on and immediately went on the website and ordered more. So you should definitely check it out. I have the is it the Aria swimsuit? The
yeah.
black one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I can't wait. Somewhere they're gonna see my, but yeah, so definitely be sure to support her brand. But yeah, so
Thank
we
you. That's
met
sweet.
and at that time, I think that was actually where we kind of started talking a little bit more.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, I was like so shy because you know some people like in that space at the time there were some experiences that I would kind of have and I'm like,
Totally.
are are they looking for a genuine friendship or is like
Yeah.
I want to be friends. You know what I mean? And so I wasn't sure how to navigate it, but you were just so down to earth and I think we were like joking and I think I was telling him like, yeah, I might like have an event. And you're like, you should do it. And you
Yeah.
like jokingly were like, yeah, let me speak at it. And it was like that, like all of that was a joke, and we like
Yeah.
laughed about it. And then literally a couple weeks later, I like text him like, "Hey,
Oh, I think I'm gonna do an event.
I would really love God put you in my heart for you to speak." And do you know what's so crazy? I didn't know at the time. It's funny because Ketchy, the other girl who spoke, like her testimony is like out there.
Yeah.
But when it came to my sister and you, I I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I
Mm.
asked you, God was like, she's gonna share her story of what she's been through, but she's gonna be pregnant when she says it.
Mm.
I had no evidence.
Wow.
I like was like, okay, sure. Little did I know.
I know. I know. How far along was I at that point? I don't even remember.
I
When was
think
your event again?
were you like 3 months?
Do you remember your event date?
It was April 2nd.
Oh no. Hold on.
Oh, you were further
Like
along.
3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
No, like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I think I had just announced it.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
well, Taz told me before you could.
That's
And
right. I was keeping it under wraps because I
yeah.
wanted to wait till 12 weeks to announce it to people. And Taz had an event, and they had food left over, and Bellamo was in the room, I think, and I don't remember exactly because I wasn't there, but he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take this home for my pregnant wife or something."
He,
Like what?
my jaw dropped. I was like holding something, like the way I swung back around the corner, like, excuse me?
Say that again.
Like, what did you
That's
say?
so funny. That's hilarious.
And yeah, I guess since then, like the rest has just been kind of history and just like, growing, even though the Lord just like had to up and move me
Yeah. He
when
said
Luna
you're
was
gonna move.
born, and now I just see her through the stories. But yeah, no, it's been you're definitely just such a gem. And I'm excited because today we're talking about, obviously, as we said, she's a mom, and we've been on the topics about sisterhood, friendships, and I know you've definitely had your fair share of experiences. So we're gonna kind
Yeah.
of unpack a little bit of, our
Yeah.
joint. I've like found myself, I'm like, is this what Yami felt from her life?
Ah,
So I'm like, where do we want to start? Do we want to start with
whatever you want.
okay.
I mean, I'm an open
Um
book, so
yeah, I think friendship breakups has been like a huge common thing, and even on the past videos, a couple of people have commented of just like how they're walking through that,
yeah,
how they're going through it, and it's like, man, like finding friendships, solid friendships as an adult, is like it's so hard, especially when you're trying to. You want your tribe, you want people who can pray for you, you want people you can share memories with. No envy, no jealousy, all of those things, and sometimes it can feel so out of reach because
yeah,
you have to almost you have to put yourself out there.
totally.
Like I literally remember like one of the girl, Michelle, who ended up being like a bridesmaid. We literally like looked to each other like, can we be friends? Like I like you. Do you like me
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, yeah.
And it's like I'm not talking to like a guy. This isn't like a guy like this. Like I want a girlfriend.
Totally.
And so I think we can start on like just like our experiences
Yeah,
with some hurts. Last week's episode was kind of on that,
yeah.
and so I guess coming into this, like how I guess have you navigated through some of those friendship breakups? How did they come about? How have you grown from them? And yeah, just give us a little insight.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I will say, unfortunately, I've had my fair share of friendship breakups. And I will say, um, I believe that friendship breakups sometimes are harder than male breakups, like boyfriend breakups.
1,000%.
Because like your girlfriends are the ones that you talk to about your boyfriends. Like you are the like you
Yeah.
your girlfriends usually know everything about you. And you never think about breaking up with a friend. So when it happens, you're like, wait, this isn't supposed to
Like
happen.
this was not on the
This is
bingo
not on the
card.
bingo card. Yeah. I laugh about it now because well, because if I don't, I'll cry.
Yeah.
But so uh gosh, where do I even start? Which one do I start with? Like there's so like and this sounds awful, but um I guess I think I'll just talk about it as a whole because
Yeah.
there's no point in getting into like the nitty-gritty. But um I think what it has taught me is a couple different things. Number one, some people are just not meant to be in your life. And maybe we don't see that at the time, but
Mhm.
looking back when like the dust has settled, you're like, okay, wait, yes, because um, I've always wanted a friendship where I can say what I feel and not have it be a big thing. It could just be, hey, I felt this when you did this. Can we just like resolve it, move on, whatever? Um, Communication, right?
Yeah.
And so when I did that, like I could tell you exactly when my friendship broke because I said something about how I felt and it just like it did not go the way I thought it was going to go. And then unfortunately I had the miscarriage right after, and it was during this time where the friendship really decided to break, which was much harder for me. I'm not saying much harder than her or me. I'm just saying it was just harder for me because I was going through
Yeah.
loss already, and then have my friendship break. And then I had another friend at that time reach out to me and say, "Hey, we're breaking up." And I was like, "What is happening?" And I think the one thing I will say is that when this has happened to me, they would write this huge number one, it'd be through text.
Mhm.
And they'd write this whole thing about how I'm a horrible person and how, I'm not going to get into details, but it was just essentially dissing the crap out of me and saying that I'm horrible
Yeah.
and this and that. And I have responded because as a friend, you want to talk through things, right?
Yeah.
Completely ghosted. I have never spoken to these people again because they just don't reciprocate. And while, yes, I agree that you don't owe anybody anything, I think as friends, you do.
Yeah.
Especially when you've created memories. If you're my bridal party, if like we've shared the deepest, our deepest thoughts with each other.
Yeah.
Um, and I try to be the devil's advocate and say, well, you know what? You don't know what they're going through. They're probably going through a lot too. But I mean, so was I. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm literally losing a baby. I lost my baby and I'm trying to like salvage our friendship, but you're not even giving me that. So, um, that took a while for me to really come to terms with it because it's heartbreaking. Like it
Yeah.
was completely heartbreaking because I just lost my child. My best friend just up and left, and then my other best friend up and left. And I'm over here thinking, is it me? Like, am I the
Yeah.
problem? Oh, now we have fireworks. That's not on the that's not right. I would get like tears. Um, but that was so crazy. But it made me really think like, am I the problem? Am I the like if everybody because you hear that phrase like if
If
things around
everyone's, it's like,
yeah, then you're the
that's like the
problem.
common thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
That,
If you're the common, maybe you're the problem. And so I really had to sit down with myself and think like, okay, am I the problem? I really had to just sit with myself and think about what they said and try to really understand and see where they were coming from because
yeah.
it was like it literally felt like it was out of left field. And
Yeah.
so it took me a really long time to accept it. And then one day it kind of just hit me like, if I don't have people that want to talk through something, these
Hmm.
are not the kind of people that I want in my life.
Yeah.
And especially if they're going to dip on me in the middle of a miscarriage, I definitely don't want them in my life.
Yeah.
And so even though they're going to be in my wedding videos and my pictures, like
Yeah.
I'd rather, and I hate saying this because I really did value our friendship and I loved them
Yeah.
and I still, wish them the best, but what they did was so heartbreaking that, and again, I hate saying this, but like I'd rather God remove them from my life now than,
Yeah.
make more memories and then have to like,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
No, yeah, and I think that's fair. I definitely relate on that end because now, like, I feel even more like what you felt, and heavily relating one to like when the dust settles and you
Yeah.
kind of look back at things. Because for me, like the like most recently was like realizing that one of my bridesmaids really wasn't my friend,
Yeah.
and like after the fact, I think I kind of recognized that I always felt something. I always felt like I was more invested. I
Mm,
also realized, you always know a lot about me, but then I don't know much about you.
mm,
And like that same, like the phone, because when I'm in a friendship, I'm there.
same.
And like I'm so vulnerable, I'm so open. And like you said, like your girlfriends are like your first love. Like I cannot imagine like it's so to go through something, especially like in my situation, I actually had, I'm not gonna like you said, like I'm not gonna get too much in the
Yeah.
details, but I had a scenario like after I'd selected, and there's like no doubt about anybody else. There was never, and there was always a question mark with this one person from the beginning. So it's not shocking, but like shortly, like a week after, because I had another friend who was really upset that like she wasn't a bridesmaid, and I was like, had to wrangle that in, all the whole 9 yards for that. But through her upsetness, because she was pissed that I like picked this person as
Mm.
bridesmaid, and I called like there were things she said that made me. I was like, okay, wait, did I like? Maybe I'm more invested. Like maybe I should like retract this. And at that moment, I was like, I think I should retract like the invitation I've extended, because I think what my gut is saying is you see her here, she doesn't see you there. And I remember reaching out and having a conversation because, like you said, it's like I care. You know what I mean? And
That's so
at that
crazy that you're
point,
saying that because the exact same thing happened to me. I had the exact same inkling of like, maybe let's retract that invite because it's just not
just
there.
yeah.
And I never did. And now looking back, that was our souls telling us like red flag, red flag, red flag. And we just decided to ignore it. And now I have to look at my bridesmaids with
Now I have to look at my pictures and it's like, and it was, I think that is probably what like kind of hurt me the most, was because it's like, not only did I have the feeling, I reached out to have a conversation.
same.
And if I'm being honest, like I was like, hey, like, this has kind of made me realize like, are we like, are we here?
Like
Because,
it's
that's what I
cool
think.
if
And
it's not. Like the
yeah,
thing is, like it's cool if it's not, but I need you to tell me
yeah,
because like don't pretend to be something that you're not, and then
exactly.
yeah.
And I remember in that conversation, the flags were even there plainly. Like some of the comments that were made were like, yeah, like, somebody asked me to do something like, um, I'm gonna take it on and but it wasn't the resolve I was looking for, the assurance.
Yeah.
It wasn't really given, and I didn't have that piece exactly. But the truth is, and I was seeing it from a perspective, I was like, oh my God, I value this person so much. And maybe they don't know that.
Yeah.
And so that's like my heart, right? So I'm like, okay, like everything's fine. And then, as the process went, I guess my eyes just slowly started being open. And I guess I started to see why that other friend was so livid that like
Mm.
this person was even on my train. And like, I mean, like, no, like, no, you're not gonna come to my bridal shower and like, no text. Wow. Okay. And
Girl, we had the same story. I had like I don't know, eight bridal. I had an eight bridal party. How do I
mhm.
say that? Eight people. I
Eight.
had
You
eight.
had eight bridesmaids.
Thank you. I just finished working out. Okay, this was hard. Um, and only two showed up to my bachelorette party, and these dang balloons. Two people showed up to my bachelorette party, and those are the two girls that I no longer speak to. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's
It.
hard. It's hard because these memories are the ones that you're gonna treasure forever. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, like so
Yeah. I remember a week before my wedding, there was something else that happened, and I was like, "This is like the last straw for me." And I literally called like a friend, and I was like, "I want to pull her off of my train. Like, I don't genuinely think she's here for me.
mm,
I don't feel like she's been through the process, even sometimes through like, it's just almost. I hate how I feel, and I literally told her, I'm like, I feel so stupid."
mm,
Because like I did this to myself, you know what I mean? And
totally.
like, the wedding weekend went, there were other experiences there where I'm like, okay, our first time talking to each other is at 1 a.m. after the first day of like all the wedding ceremonies. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But
Yeah.
after the fact, I just like didn't even say anything, because and I'm not that type of person. I typically will have a conversation, but it was one of those things where I was like, at this point, like needle in the haystack, like that one person to everyone else who supported me,
Right.
like it didn't matter. And so, and also I had to make a decision, like, do I want drama surrounding my wedding weekend?
Absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not.
No.
So, girl, and you saw, my the wedding count was huge. So, like, didn't matter. Like, all those other people
Insane.
who genuinely loved me, come on
Totally.
now.
Totally.
But the crazy part, which I don't know if you can relate in like the post conversations with like, these friendships, I didn't say anything for a while. And then there was some information that like came up after the fact that wrecked me. Yami, I don't block anyone. I don't block anyone. As in, like, you know, people be like, X blocked, this
Yeah.
blocked. I
Yeah,
don't
me
block
neither.
anyone.
I don't either.
When I found out, immediate block. I was like, the sight of you will trigger me. I
Oh,
literally
wow.
had a nightmare and I woke up crying.
Hmm.
And I was so hurt because I'm like, how did I like ignore the signs? And I just kept, I literally was telling Uko, I was like, I feel so stupid. Like, I hate it. And he was hurting because he hated seeing me like that. Because it's like,
Totally.
man, like,
Yeah.
and there were other things. And it got to the point where I realized I'm like, I'm tethered to like a friend group, you know, with this person. I just, I think I just need to have a conversation. And so I like reached out and I was like, hey, like, you know, I want to talk, whatever. 2 hours of just that. Do you know what that conversation taught me? I'm my, you know, flaw. I'm defensive. I cannot stand
Me too.
when something is being misrepresented about me
Same.
or it's being misunderstood. No, 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 I need to explain. And I kid you not, that whole phone call, I never thought it possible that I could sit down and hear things that were so far from the truth
Mm.
and like just be like, oh. And the Holy Spirit was like, see, you could do it. But
You're like, but
like
I don't
on
wanna.
I don't wanna. But I listened and I was like, I've done what I need. On that call, do you know what was said to me? Yeah, like your wedding wasn't a priority for me. So then why did you say yes?
Right, right, right. Because that's not the problem. The problem was not that she didn't think the wedding was a priority. It was a problem that you said yes.
Yeah.
Because
Like tell me.
yeah,
I
communicate.
can
That's what
I'm
we
a
want.
big girl.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
big girl. It's okay. Oh, we're not where I thought we were. Dang. That's crazy. You
Moving on.
know, dust my shoulders off, move on. I have myself. And so I think that's probably what hurt the most is like even while I even apologized to him, like, you know, I'm sorry I didn't talk to you about things. There were other things like, you know, I'm sorry I just like didn't say anything. But then I realized it would just pile on. But to hear some of the things, and I was like, are you just like trying to hurt me more?
Right.
And even saying like, oh yeah, because we met through like my ex, and so it's like, oh, like that's really the only reason like we were ever friends to begin with. And I was like, and then my mind just plays back through months and I'm like, you know what,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you see the signs, and I guess we're just so loving and we really just want to, you know,
Yeah.
you choose maybe an alternative reality
And
sometimes.
also, I don't know, you said it in the beginning, and I know you have a lot of really close friends, but I don't necessarily have that. I've never had that because I've moved from so many different places.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's also my fault because I could be better at like keeping in touch with people. But
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted the close group of girlfriends. Like I've always wanted
Yeah.
like my people that I know, like I could call and laugh with. I can call and drink wine with. I can call and like have a movie. I can call and show you my
Mm-hmm.
outfit. I can call and cry to you. I can like, I've always wanted
Yeah.
that. And so I think one of the things that I learned in that season was how, oh, she seems a little bit interested in me. We'll be friends. Oh, you seem interested in me. We'll be friends.
Mm.
And then I make them this, I put them on a pedestal is what I do.
Yeah. Oh.
And then they are my girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when something happens, I'm like devastated because like, how could you?
Yeah.
But I remember thinking when I was in the middle of it, I was in the bathroom and I remember it just happened. And I'm not one to like, I don't necessarily hear from the Lord like you do. Like, I feel like you do, like, He speaks to you all the time. And I don't really get that. Um, and I remember, and it might have been him, it might have not. I'm going to choose to say it was him. And he said, you need to be alone right now. You don't need any girlfriend. You have enough with yourself and you have enough with me. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Because when I'm saying this, it's almost like the serial dater, right? Oh, like I can't be myself, but it's almost like the same thing, but for a woman. Like I wanted a
Mm.
girlfriend so bad that I would just put all of my hope in this one person or these couple people.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just It's hard. It's definitely hard, but it was definitely a learning season for me,
Mhm.
and I've definitely been more guarded. Um, and like you said, I am extremely loving. Like I will give
Yeah.
you everything, and I'll give it to you right away. Like, and now it's more so like, okay, let's get to know each other first.
Yeah,
And
let's
I'm gonna keep
date.
my distance. Yeah, yeah, because I need to guard my heart because it's been broken way too many times
Yeah.
by women.
Yeah. And
So,
it goes to that. I guess that's like a major point or takeaway for the people listening is like learning one, like how am I overestimating people's places in my life? But then
mhm.
also like taking equal stake and not seeing it from the perspective of like going into a friendship and it's like, oh, like what am I getting? How am I being served? But when you're such a giver, you end up being so hurt time and time again. And it's like, I'm not the problem. I just need to have a little bit more boundaries and be
Totally.
selective of who I let in. And it's like, when the Lord says, guard your heart, not just with men, not just with men, but also with friendships as well. Because also, there are even like different experiences I've had, and even like going through the process. And I was like talking with my husband about some stuff, and he like highlighted some things because he observes, and he's like, yeah, there is some things like, I flagged or I've seen. And it's like he could see like jealousy in certain situations. And
Mm.
I was like, oh, like maybe that is. Do you know what's so crazy? The I don't know why this just, well, obviously we're on the topic, but I just remembered a crazy text message that I got out of the blue, out of nowhere. Yami, you know me. I'm like the sweetest person. I'll have beef with anyone. Oh my gosh. I remember getting a text message from someone, and I don't, till this day, I kid you not, I have no idea who it is. And they basically send me a message and they're like, funny how it's the people who are so righteous and love God. I remember screenshotting and sending it to my sisters because I was like, what the heck is happening right now? Oh my God, this is what it said randomly. And I just come off of a fast,
I'm dead.
literally just broke my fast like 30 minutes before. And I get a message, and they're like, it's crazy how people who act like they're so righteous and the most in tune with God are actually the most fake people. You certainly don't practice what you preach with empowering all women. And that's probably why you're going to remain looking like a whale and continue having your downs. You're also a jealous spirit, by the way, and shouldn't pick and choose who you show love to if you're a so called woman of God. I was like, what on earth? And I don't even know what just took my mind to this right now. I think just like that jealousy and envy
Yeah.
thing, I think is what brought this up. And I just remember like one, I was angry, but also it's like you clearly like watch all of my videos because I've like put out videos about how I've like been struggling with like what birth control has done to my body and how I'm struggling to love myself. But then also I've like had food poisoning. My car got towed. It was just like, and then I got
Yeah.
flu. It was back to, so it's like you obviously keep up with me, right? And you're trying to kick me where it hurts. And I was like, I got this message and I had so much peace in that because the Holy Spirit was like, let's just sit. Ugo literally left. He like hugged me and he's like, I'm gonna leave. Don't respond. Don't do anything. Sit with the Holy Spirit and talk to him about it. And the Holy Spirit was like, read all of those things. Look at the evidence of your life. And then what do your friends say about you? What do the people who are actually in proximity with you say about
Yeah.
you? And I was like, and he said, exactly. Throw it in the trash because we know it's not true. And this is obviously a hurt and broken person who
Totally.
was probably envious. And my sister sent me like such a sweet message. But I just remember thinking, I'm like, this is like, I don't know, like the fact that I can't even pinpoint you just tells you like where
Right.
you
This is
are.
so out of left
You know
field.
what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But it's like, man, like there are people who literally are dealing with people like this who are, they're actually tethered to. And this is how they really feel about them. And so it's like, how do I even build genuine friendships with people who are not envious, who are not hateful and spiteful towards me, and think the most nastiest, untrue things about
Right.
you.
Right.
And it's like, that was like scary because I know this person is probably friends with someone else who they, maybe view that way. And I was just like, God, thank you. And I like, sometimes I use myself as a point of contact. I'm like, God, I know there are a lot of people praying for girlfriends. And even despite the hurts I've had, I'm grateful to God that I have people who genuinely like ride for me and are
Right.
like, like that is a lie. We cast that down. This is what you've done in my life. This, like, and it's just like, I pray that every person who is like listening to this and who is hungry for that, that God would provide that to you
Mm-hmm.
and get rid of people like this in
Yeah.
your life. Going through that filter of like, okay, is there something wrong with me? And having to filter, that's what I was like, wait, God, am I living a lie? Like, do I not know who I am?
Right. I'm like, am I like living two different lives? Like,
Do I have like two different realities and I'm just
yeah.
walking around here a big red
Right.
flag and everyone's
Right.
So that's been that's yeah, definitely I think another takeaway from just everything was the not overestimating, but then also there was this video and the girl talked about like the different layers, being able to categorize people.
Yes, I've learned that too. Like, not everybody, not one person is going to be everything to you. And that is something that I have recently learned. It's like, maybe you go to this person for those like deep thoughts that you're having and you want to like have a deep conversation. Maybe you just go to this person
Mhm.
because you just want to laugh a lot. Maybe
Yeah.
it's more carefree. Maybe, and then if you do have that one person that is literally could be everything for you, treasure that with your entire being,
Hold
because
on to it.
hold on to it tight, nurture it, and don't let them go, but not too hard, because they say if you keep it too hard, what's that saying? And it's so funny, while we're talking, I realized that this is exactly like, let's say you're a single woman that's like 28, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, I'm 28 and I don't have a man and da 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 da. It's literally the same thing, but just as a woman. Like, I'm gonna use my age. I'm 37 and I don't have a girlfriend. Like, I want a girlfriend that I can just do life with. And what would you say to someone that doesn't have a man? You would say, it's okay. It's going to happen when you least expect it. You're going to meet him one day and it's all going to fall into place. Like, stop worrying about it. Stop stressing about it.
Yeah.
And then us, when it's for women, we're like, but how are we going to find them? Like, how are we going to,
It's almost
where
like
are
there's this
you?
like sense of hopelessness because it's
Totally.
like, and I'm like, the way we come with that energy of like, praying for a spouse, but not only that, like people going back to like being selective, people have lists for my spouse better be this, he better be that,
Yeah.
he better be this. And it's like, okay, have that same energy for the friendships,
Yep.
babe, because
Let's have like, yeah,
you
the
need the
standards.
filter. And it's
Yeah.
just like that same way we go to God and we're like, God, like let him be this, let him be life giving, let him lead. It's like pray for those friends. Like I'm a big believer, like Michelle. She is one of the friendships I prayed for that I was like, God, right now I don't have a lot of like, I need some more spiritual support and
Yeah.
someone who can relate and we can build each other up. And also likes to have fun. And it's just like so down to earth. And I prayed and I was like, God, I felt so alone in that season
Yeah.
of what I was like, needing. And boom, the Lord opened, and she was also praying for that. And it's like, have that same, like, be as tedious as you select,
Totally.
especially when it's like, oh, I'm a girl's girl. Are you really?
Don't get me started.
Let the Holy Spirit reveal, okay? I'm like, Lord, strip the veil. Let me see it. And honestly, like, too, something you mentioned, because I, like, growing up, I moved a lot. So honestly, like, the testimony of actually having that solid group of friends is, like, something I wasn't sure if I was going to get back. Because moving
Yeah.
from Nigeria to the States, it was awful. People were so mean to me. And I always like she will always forever come up in every conversation. There was this friend of mine, Symphony. She's still in my life till today, and she was the one saving grace of like
Mm.
hope for friendship that didn't take advantage of me, that genuinely cared, that built me up. Like people would bully me, tell me you're the ugliest girl. Oh, you're this. I'm not even gonna say that. I don't think it's safe to say, but And she would be like, nope, this is who you are. This is that.
I love
And
that.
so I never saw that like on the table for me. And then God just like gifted me with those things. Like I didn't even realize it. I was like, wow. But then now being in a space where I've moved away from all of that, and I'm truly a girl's girl. Like dinner date, I like
Same.
my friend sent me a TikTok today, and it was this guy who's like that friend who just always invites you to every single thing. It's like, yeah, I'm about to go get my wisdom teeth pulled. You wanna
Yes,
come? Like, or it's like, oh,
literally.
I did this. I literally, one of my friends, I'm like, I already RSVP'd you. You wanna come to a food tasting? I'm like, oh yeah, let's just like, and I just
Love
drove
it.
her all along. So it's like going from that to being in this new space in Toronto. God is gracing me with some stuff. I had an interesting experience where I was like, okay, interesting. It was just kind of weird where it's like, I don't know you, but then you have beef with me. But then turns out I think they were upset that they didn't get invited to my wedding. But I'm like, I don't know you. So, but yeah, it's been difficult. And I guess you can relate like moving and
Totally.
being in a new space. I mean, you've been in Texas for a while now. So it's like, but then even with that, like you're kind of building, and I think you say, I guess we can kind of transition because your life looks different than when you first
Yeah.
moved to Texas.
Yeah.
You're a wife, you're a mom, you're, growing different, like, aspects of your business. And so I guess even like with distant friendships, but then also even just being in a new season overall, like how have you found, especially as a mother, and I'm really passionate about that because I've shared with you like through since before I was like engaged, the things that people have rained in my brain about like, oh, just when you become a mom, da, 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 da. And I'm like,
I hate that so much.
I rebuke that
Yeah.
negativity. You keep it to
Yeah.
yourself. But
Yeah.
like, how for the people who I guess are looking at it and it's like, oh, they may be moms and they may be going through a season of like, man, I feel really isolated and I don't know how to like go about friendships. Like, how are you navigating that space, especially while still finding your tribe? How's that been, I guess, going through that transition?
So I was lucky enough to be pregnant with a friend. She was pregnant. She was 4 weeks ahead of me, and it was not planned. It was just luck of the
The
draw.
Lord's was something was in the
Yeah,
water.
he knew what he was doing. Yeah, for sure. Because we were friends, but that pregnancy got us so much closer because we were both going through a new season. We were both first time moms. And so I would say that she's probably the closest friend I have right now because we are going through so many similar things.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, I think it is very easy to feel isolated, especially when you have a newborn or you're a new mom, even with not a new mom, but like just going through that new season is what I'm trying to refer to.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
you're lost, like you don't know what you're doing with your baby and you don't know what you're doing with your
Mm-hmm.
life and you have all your hormones
Yeah.
flowing through you. So it's very difficult to just say, oh, just hang in there, it'll pass. Know that it will pass, but I think in the
Yeah.
meantime what you could do is find people that are going through the same thing as you.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I would try to do whatever you can to do it. You have to put yourself out there. I know that there's a lot of like mommy and me gyms and mommy and me
Mm-hmm.
classes. And those are great places to like meet somebody, even if it's just like weekly. Like having adult interaction when you have a baby is so vital because I am a working mom and Luna, my daughter, she is not in any kind of daycare or anything. So she's at home with me. And luckily, I'm so blessed to have my mom here with us, helping me for a little bit. And so that gives me a little bit of flexibility to be able to, not only do things for myself, but if I needed to go get coffee with a friend just to catch up, I can do that. But also, I want to say that my mom hasn't always been here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still go out with a coffee or go out with a friend to get coffee with your baby. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people think that, oh my gosh, my life ends when I have a baby. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you have to plan a little bit better. You might have to make
Yeah.
adjustments, but your baby is has to adapt to your lifestyle. It's not like you have to adapt to your baby's lifestyle. And I
Hmm.
don't mean that in a negative way, because obviously you will adapt to the baby's lifestyle because it is a baby that you have to take care of and feed and
Yeah.
change and everything. But you can still go on a walk with a friend. You can still go to a coffee shop. You can go to the dinner. There are still things that you can do. And if you have friends that value you and just see you and where you're at right now, they'll
Hmm.
come to you.
Yeah.
And so I think and I'm just saying, like, if you have no friends and there's like
Yeah.
nobody, put yourself out there, go to these mommy and me classes, go on a walk. Like, you never know. Like, if you're going out on a walk with your baby, potentially there's going to be somebody else going on a walk with a baby. Like, I just walk through
Yeah.
my neighborhood and I'm like, hey, how's your baby? Oh my gosh, so cute. Like, and then you just start having these little chats. And believe it or not, just talking about it, I know it feels kind of like meh. It's just like a 5 second thing, but those 5 seconds, 10 minutes, those are really going to like fill you up, because you are meeting somebody that's going through the same thing that you are,
Yeah.
and you're going to feel less alone immediately.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think I text you this all the time, but I'm like, you give me so much hope. And like, you're just like that beacon of light in
Oh
the
my
midst,
gosh.
both you and Ruth. Cause I'm like, you, I'm seeing like, compared to all the things I've, gotten, obviously you still have the real side of that, which is like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, you have a baby. Of course your
My
life is
biggest,
going to
my
change,
biggest,
right? Like,
yeah, my biggest pet peeve is when people make motherhood out to be the worst thing in the world,
yeah,
because it truly is the best thing in the world.
yeah,
And again, it's hard. Like, it is not easy. But I think all the goodness that comes from it really just takes over any of the hard
yeah,
parts.
yeah. No, and you're crushing it. I'm like, yeah,
Thanks.
baby, business, life. Like, I no, yeah,
Life
it's
is life, and okay.
yeah. And as it will continue, there's a video I saw, and this lady was just like, she's a business owner as well, like entrepreneur like yourself. And she was terrified, like having her baby. She's like, I don't want to be isolated. I love what you highlighted of, it's not necessarily your baby, like you adapting to your baby's world. It's like, no, your baby's coming into your world.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean like you still meet the needs that are there, but you also still you can't lose yourself. Like
Yeah.
I've had experiences, either even like aunts who have talked to me, they're like, please don't do what we did, where we didn't even pour any energy into our personal lives and investing in those friendships.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it was rainbows and butterflies the entire time. There are times where I was in the postpartum and I was feeling very alone and numb and feeling like I'll never get out of it, but you will get out of it. And I also wanted to say something else and I totally just blanked out, but it was so good.
Bring it back, Holy
Come
Spirit.
on, come on,
What
baby.
was baby, mom, prioritizing,
I don't know.
not losing self?
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come back to me if it's important.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that's so like it's just having a real picture of that balance, or rather imbalance
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah, there's no balance.
where there
That's the thing. You have to accept that there's not going to be balance.
yeah,
It's never balanced. There's some days that your child is going to come before. I mean, for me, she comes before work all the time.
yeah,
But what I was going to say is that there are days that maybe you're working a little bit more than seeing your baby, and then vice
hmm,
versa. And you just have to really think about your priorities. Do you want to be a working mom? Do you not? They're both totally
yeah,
great, but it's ultimately up to you to decide what you want to do. And
yeah,
I'm slowly, no, not slowly learning. I've learned very fast that you cannot do it all, and accept that it's just going to be a slower climb in terms of like business, because like I said earlier,
yeah,
my baby's my priority. So I would
yeah,
rather be with my baby than work, which
yeah,
people might, say whatever they say about that, but that's
yeah.
just me.
To each their own. Also, I
Totally.
think
Yeah.
something that like can we just all understand that your experience is your experience, my experience, even like I'm to the point after realizing how opinionated a lot of people are, I'm like, I need to take everything with just a grain of
They're
salt.
gonna be more opinionated the second you say you're pregnant, by the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My friend, she posts all her like not even subtle, all her jabs to everybody who has something to say. She like makes reels and she's like, okay, you had your baby and you did what you wanted with your baby. Let me raise my child.
Totally.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, does it ever end?
It doesn't. It doesn't end.
Yeah.
But
So no, I think that's something later on I'd like love to get like a deeper dive in on, but I think it's like I said, it's inspiring to just see the raw reality and also getting some of those raw truths. It's like not everything's gonna be balanced, not everything's gonna look, especially for when you're, a perfectionist and it's like, okay, this is my life. It's like I hear that thing where I don't know, what do they say? Mourning the old you and
yeah,
embracing like the new you. And it's like, this is
I know
what
what I
life.
was gonna say. You just reminded me.
Oh, yay. Okay.
So, I had a really hard time like days before I gave birth because I was like, my life's gonna change. I'm gonna mourn this. Me and Taz are gonna be so different. Like, and it's funny thinking back because the second that child was born, like, I've always been a hard worker, but I'm gonna cry. Oh,
It's okay.
I've always been a hard worker, but the second she was born and she was on me, it like hit me. I was like, this is why I do what I do. Like, it's not for me, it's for her. And I have never been more motivated, more focused. I've never wanted to succeed more than I have now. And it's because of her. It's not me. Like, I'm the same person. I'm just a mom now. And
You're making me like tear up. I'm like, this is
it's
just
true. It
this.
was like I wanted
Yeah.
to get back to work because not because I enjoyed it, but because I wanted to be able to provide and give her the best life. Because if I'm being honest, if I could be a stay-at-home mom and be with my child all day and go to the grocery store together and go to these classes together and go to like who doesn't want that? I want that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not my lot in life and I have to work and I enjoy what I do. Um, but not so much that I'd give up my time with Luna.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. No, I love
know?
that. No, literally, I'm like, why am I crying? It's just no, because you feel your love and you feel just like, you feel it. And yeah, I think definitely that will help a lot of people because, like I said, I mean, I've received messages and just like different things, even conversations.
Yeah.
And so I think more of this, is needed. Even for those who aren't there yet, but aspire to be like
Yeah.
myself, it's like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay.
No, totally. It's gonna be so okay.
Yeah.
Like, I got a message the other day because somebody asked how I like went through the changes in my body and being okay with it and listen, no one likes to get fat, but you have to accept it that you're not getting fat. You're
Yeah.
literally growing a human being.
Yeah.
You are performing a miracle. And I think the second you accept that and you like change your perspective, your workouts will always be there. Everything, you will always be there. Your baby is only going to be this small for that day. Like
Yeah.
it goes by so fast. And um, I just said, like, you can work on your fitness in 6 weeks. Like, just take this
Yeah.
time to bond with your baby. Like, your body does not matter at this moment. Like, obviously, take
Yeah.
care of yourself. Don't like, you're recovering. But I think as a society, we've always been so focused on our bodies and what we look like and how we
Snap
look.
back.
Yes, and
Yeah.
you'll have the opportunity to snap back, whenever. Um, and anyway, all that to say that she reached out. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you made me cry because I've never seen it that way." And it's just about changing your perspective because if you're not pregnant, I mean, if you don't have a baby, if you're not pregnant, you are probably really nervous, really scared of all these changes, your body, your life. Like, and if we don't talk about it and we don't share our experiences, they'll never know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to share the good experiences too, because God knows there's a lot of bad ones.
Yeah.
And we want to like remind women that there's more good ones than bad ones.
Yeah. Girl, you're preaching to my heart right now. Because sometimes, like, I've been open about just like the ridiculous experience I had with birth control. I talked about it a little bit on my Instagram. And how I literally like was the healthiest I've ever been, and my body was just like doing what it wants to do, and like I went up like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. And like a perspective I started having was like, I need to lose weight before I have a baby, so that way I can just already. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you're what?
I thought the same thing. I was literally in the best shape of my life right before I got pregnant. Well, the first time. And I was like, "Oh crap." Like that why is that my first reaction? Your first
Yeah,
reaction should be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm having a baby." You know
yeah,
what I mean? I mean, it was. I was in full shock.
yeah,
But yeah, I think all of these thoughts are normal, and I think it's society that has put that in our brains that our physicality matters so much more than your mental health or how your
yeah,
body's actually operating or all of these things. And so when something happens like that where we do gain weight for whatever reason, we're like, oh no, we look ugly, oh no, we look awful, we have to lose weight. Like, no, maybe this is your, and I'm not like what's the word I'm looking for, I'm not, oh my gosh, when doctors.
diagnosing.
Thank you. Yes. I'm not trying to like diagnose you and tell you what to do, but maybe it's like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe look into what's happening and
Hmm.
work on your health. You know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
think that society has brainwashed us to think that the second we gain 5 pounds, we are awful people and we have to lose weight.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And yeah, that I think that whole realm
It's a
is
whole
like a
different,
whole
yes,
separate
totally. I
conversation
didn't mean to get
because
into the fitness. I'm just a
no,
fitness
girl. I
person.
mean,
So
look, we can talk about that because also, like, look, the Lord says your body is a temple and
totally.
taking care of your body, right?
Yeah.
So I think definitely potentially a future conversation because
Yeah.
there's like, yeah, it's my
It's a
brain,
lot. It's a
my
lot. Yeah,
brain.
no. And especially as a mom, like as a new mom, you think like, oh, I have a baby, but the world's like, oh, you need to lose weight. You have to go back to work. Like, you have to take care of this baby. And you're like,
Yeah,
how am I supposed to do everything at once? You're not. That's
yeah,
what it
and
is. Like,
it's
you're not.
like kind of breaking from those expectations as well because God didn't put that on you.
Totally.
God didn't say, okay, Yami, you Luna's here.
Get
Get
back
on
on
it.
it.
It's like, and it's also, I think, a lesson of like discipline and commitment in that as
Yeah.
well. Because like
Yeah.
literally watching your journey and like literally, because I mean, I've known you before, I knew you through it, and I'm seeing you after. What's that TikTok? I've been on TikTok too much,
I
but
know.
this is like an old one. But it's like, snap girl, you made me drop something. My jaw. That's literally me when I saw your like update on just like, and you've been consistent, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like that slow, and I talked about this like 2 videos ago where I was talking about obedience and like not growing weary. It's like not just like with the jobs and things, it's like even with your health and like the process because you go through things, and it's like imagine if along the way you're just like, yeah, well, they say this is how it's gonna be. It's like slow and steady wins the race,
Yeah.
and like the culture is like, oh, like, yeah, she like it's 2 weeks postpartum, baby, where?
I did
Okay,
not. That was not my story.
that may not always be everyone's reality, and so it's like knowing not to cling to other people's expectations, but
Yeah.
just knowing that your journey is going to be your journey,
Yep.
and like you just have to have grace for yourself,
Totally.
and discipline and commitment pay in the long run, you know.
The
It
time's
does.
gonna pass. Make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
know why I talk like that.
Well, I just did that awful accent from whatever that TV show is. So, but no, yeah, this has been lovely. There's so many. You really have my brain on that fitness thing now,
Sorry.
but this is gonna have to be. This is gonna have to be another
Comment
conversation. But
below if you want another episode on fitness and body image and all that good stuff.
yes, body image, body dysmorphia, all the
Oh,
things.
girl, I could grab the tea.
Yeah, that one's a real one.
Yeah.
But any closing thoughts for the people?
Closing thoughts. I'm trying to like go back to the friendship thing.
Yeah,
Um,
we've touched on
So
the
many things.
friendships and the healing and, kind of letting go of self-blame, self-awareness, taking proper stake, right? But also that intentionality of like, okay, I've
So,
been,
sorry, I think I am a very emotional person, and even though I wish things didn't go the way they did, I will say that time truly does heal all. And with time, you'll know or you'll realize that things had to happen the way they happened so that you could live in the life that you're living in right now.
mm,
And for me, that's a good thing. I
yeah,
am, I feel so good right now with my friendships. And while I'm always looking for like that core group of people, I do have
yeah,
friendships that I can count on and I could um, go to and laugh with. And so, if you are going through a friendship breakup season, first of all, I'm sorry that you're going through that because I know it's hard, but also just know that it's that stupid quote, right? Like, some people are meant to be in your life for a reason, for a season, or
yeah,
it's a stupid,
mm-hmm,
it's cliche
yeah,
for a reason. And as much as we hate it sometimes, it's
hmm
just, it's life and we have to accept
yeah,
it. And if you want to cherish the memories that you had with them, cherish them. And if not, just say la vie.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
time does heal,
it really does.
and you'll just find like,
You'll find your people. You will.
yeah,
And
you'll
that's
find
what I'm
your
holding on
tribe.
to. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And we're always better for it, like I said,
Yes.
right? Like at the end there's light, there is hope at the end of the tunnel,
Well, always.
is the main thing.
There will
And
always be
so
hope.
don't lose hope. Time, season, reason.
Yeah. Time for No, isn't it
For
people
some for a season,
some for
some
a reason?
and
I don't know.
some
We'll look it
for,
up.
and look, some will be there temporarily, some will be
Some
there
will
for
not.
lifers,
That's it.
and others will just be destiny helpers that pop in and pop out.
There you go. Write
And
that
that's it.
down. Put it on a t-shirt.
But no, thank you so much for being
Thank
so
you.
vulnerable and sharing. I know definitely a lot of probably like soon to be moms or already moms will appreciate your insight that you brought on that as
I
well.
hope
And
so.
I'm so excited. And thank you to you guys for being tuned in for the sisterhood series. Let me know if you'd love, I mean, there's so many topics on sisterhood that we could like go in. And this just seemed to be the common theme that a lot of people are walking through. So it's like, it's a very real thing. But yeah, let me know if you guys want more of this, and there's more where it came from. But I hope this episode blessed you, and I hope you guys have an amazing week ahead, and I can't wait to chat with you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.